Hello everybody, it's Merlin here, and today we're going to go back to our Gintama story arc discussion. Recently, not too long ago, watched the Trained Samurai arc, and I have to say I thought it was actually pretty entertaining. Basically, Shinpachi's riding on this train. Basically, he's kind of ranting about how he kind of hates the whole cat ear fixation a lot of people have with the ladies, I guess in anime. It's kind of a commentary on the whole, cat ears cuteness thing, and he's just kind of complaining about how it's so stupid. He doesn't understand why people like it doesn't matter. And there's this guy harassing this girl on the train, and he of course intervenes, trying to be the hero, and lo and behold, he really likes this girl and falls for her, and of course she takes off her hat and reveals she has cat ears, so there's a little bit of irony there. And he just falls like head over heels for this girl. He's completely in love with her, and he goes out on a date with her, and he's not really sure how to react and how to act because he's not really that used to being with the ladies, and he even thinks he's going to get lucky. It's pretty funny. All the while his friends are kind of thinking something's up, and it turns out there's actually kind of a twist about this girl that's kind of revealed, and if you haven't seen it, I won't go into it, but it was actually pretty impressive. It's something that I really wasn't expecting, and one thing I'll say about this particular little arc is that whole thing they did with her, I think there was a lot of really interesting commentary just, I think, on the anime fandom, like even focusing on something as simple as the whole cat ears thing. And they actually looked at it in kind of a sort of serious way, despite the comedy. But on another level, I think just dealing with relationships in general and how people interact and the idea of unrequited love kind of comes up. And I think the way Shinpachi finally deals with it when he kind of learns something about her, how it all resolves itself, was actually very well done. In contrast to that, though, this is one of those examples of how I can see that there are hints of really, really good writing in Gintama. Like, it was a funny little story arc, and there was actually some really interesting commentary on fandom and relationships. Really smart, like legitimately good stuff. And they kind of... The problem is, though, there is really just a flash of brilliance. And so I'm not yet convinced personally of how amazing it is from this arc. I think there's definitely pieces of it that are good, but the problem with this arc is kind of something I'm beginning to wonder if it's going to be kind of a common problem, is that they touch on these really interesting, complicated ideas, but this 2-episode arc really only focuses on it for maybe like an episode and a half, and within that episode and a half, it's a lot of side gags about, Gintoki and the others just kind of making commentary with the audience, which is funny, but it takes away from something legitimately interesting about the arc and some of the comedy. So the comedy that was there was really good. It was funny, it was relevant, it was smart, and the drama was equally as good, but it's resolved so quickly that it almost doesn't matter. Like, in particular, the twist with this girl and the kind of person she is really interesting. And if they had actually followed up with her and really stretched this out into another episode or two, this could have been like a legitimately really good arc, whether they decided to go purely comedic, purely dramatic, or combine them. But like I said, there's only so much you can do in an episode and a half tops. So they touched on some things. I thought it was good, but it wasn't fully fleshed out. So I'm hoping that some of the future arcs are a little bit further expanded upon. However, ironically enough, I will say, the last half of the second episode of this arc is actually kind of a mini-story. It's kind of a spin-off following some of the Shinsengumi guys. Their captain basically recruits them to go on this mission to help save this girl. And it turns out the girl is his daughter, and he just wants to assassinate the guy that she's with, kind of going along the theme of dating and relationships and appearances being deceiving in the actual main arc episode. He just tricks these other guys into saying, well, he's not good enough for her, he's horrible, he's terrible, he looks terrible, obviously, conducts himself a certain way, she can't date him, I want him murdered. And so they decide, okay, they're going to, and there's some really funny Golgo 13 references, like they all pretend like they're Golgo 13, which is pretty awesome. In addition to that, the thing is, the whole way that story resolves itself, and the ways they keep trying to kill this guy, and they keep trying to separate them, and they learn, like for instance, they try to threaten this guy and make him, do something kind of disgusting, but it kind of backfires because it turns out the the daughter did the same thing and just kind of connects them because they had the same reaction to going on this roller coaster because they're at an amusement park on the date. And so things just continue to get worse, and they kind of all learn a nice lesson about appearances and relationships, and the separation between parents and their children. And I thought that, in all honesty, I'm just gonna say it right now, so far in all of Gintama, I don't know, I guess within the first 30 plus episodes, I mean, that's probably the best part. I mean, in 15 minutes, that was just brilliant in terms of comedy. That was just really funny, and that didn't even follow the main guys. But once again, I see there's a hint there, so I think there's more good stuff to come. Overall, I think that the Trained Samurai wasn't quite as fleshed out as the memory loss one, but it was ultimately funnier and definitely a little better written in its individual parts. So I definitely prefer Trained Samurai over the memory loss arc, but they're honestly probably about the same level in quality so far. But I've been told that Imobozu is going to be an arc that I'm supposedly really going to like. So I'll let you guys know about that next time. But let me know if you guys like the Trained Samurai, and I'll keep watching and reacting as long as you guys keep enjoying it. Alright everybody, it's Merlin out. Stay magical.